Hey everybody, what's going on? Rob Cesternino back again to talk with you about The Amazing Race, Season 38, Episode 2, as we race through Prague. And we're so excited to get the chance to talk tonight live about last night's Amazing Race. First, back with us, our chief Amazing Race correspondent. Here she is, Jessica Liese. Jess, how are you?
I'm devastated, Rob. I think I'm still going through the 5 stages of grief about losing Angela and Lexi.
Yeah, very sad that we did not get more Angela on our televisions this fall. I think Lexi would have been very fun. We did have the chance to speak with them earlier today. That podcast is up, our exit interview with Angela and Lexi. You can check that out over on our podcast feed and our YouTube channel. And here with us, the conductor. Here he is. Choo Choo Bloom.
Yes, I love detours because they make you choose between two options. Yes, Rob, let's talk about how I, as the train conductor, engineered these players' fate in what I would describe delicately as a real shit show.
Yeah. The trains, just what happened? I thought like the European trains that they like.
This is what happens when Mussolini's out of power, right? He always kept the trains running on time.
Mm-hmm.
Mike beat me to the Mussolini joke. I don't know what I got. Honestly, I knew that this was a special episode when we were 20 minutes into the episode and nobody was in Prague yet.
Mm-hmm.
We were still doing train drama like it's 2004.
That's the thing, is that this, I feel like we keep saying this every season, so it feels more and more inauthentic, but like, it's almost like that butterfly meme of like, is this old school Amazing Race? Because it very much felt like it. I know that people kind of despaired the fact that we don't really have the book your own ticket plane drama sort of stuff, but we got a heap of train station drama. And yes, it was, a huge concentration in the episode, but I gotta say, I liked the premiere last week. I really liked this episode.
Oh, look at us.
I know that we ended up losing quite the force of a character in the form of Angela and Lexi, but I feel like a lot of our qualms from last week in terms of getting to know a lot of the partners of some of the Big Brother players came out to the forefront like almost immediately. And throw in there some, really hard tasks, some placement shuffling, and again, everything quite literally becoming derailed for the first third of the episode, and it's the chaos that I love to watch on reality TV.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
And add to that the fact that 4 million people watched it, and it's like, yeah, we're right in the golden age of Amazing Race again.
We're so back, baby.
We're back.
Yes, if you saw, I think it was up like 127% or something from last season's premiere.
Yeah. CBS reality TV is so back. The Big Brother ratings were all up. And then, I don't know, maybe if that's some sort of halo effect of Big Brother people on The Amazing Race and Big Brother doing so well in terms of its finale and people coming over to watch it. And just imagine, I feel like they just missed the boat to do this again. They could have had Vince and Kelsey running The Amazing Race.
I think they're already being filmed getting in a car already.
Yes, they already have cameras following them everywhere. It would have been so great.
That's a real self-driving leg that they're undergoing right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but I digress. More on that for maybe Amazing Race 40. All right, so excited to get into everything from this episode. And I guess, what's the headline here? That Angela and Lexi are out?
I mean, that's the headline in my heart. It's very sad.
I would say, I think the thing we should focus on is what happened with the trains. And it's so interesting because I brought this up. I did a podcast with Taryn over the weekend, and we compared it to his beloved show, Jet Lag, which is comparable to The Amazing Race. And he says, like, what I'm excited about is the idea of using trains, because on Jet Lag, trains always screw everything up. And I don't think I necessarily knew the magnanimity of that statement until this, where all the best laid plans of mice and men, literally everybody except for the Turners experienced some form of difficulty in this leg.
Yeah, this is a good point, and something that I had not thought of, like, as not nearly as versed in The Amazing Race as both of you, but just due to a lot of reasons, they don't film on airplanes. You know, the teams, they go to the airport, we see them go into the gate. Next thing we see them rushing out of the airport. On a train, we have a lot of filming of what's going on. We see the teams talking, they could be fighting on the trains. Stuff is happening on the trains and we're following that action.
Yeah, it is like we see people getting on the plane, but I guess for security reasons, they can't really film it while they're in the air. But yeah, the trains, you also have a lot more time traveling. So there's a lot more going on. This was an overnight thing. They got on at 2 p.m. and it was like 9 a.m. the next morning when they got there, because they're pretty much going across the entirety of Europe to get to where they're going. And it ended up, there was human error here. There was logistical error. It was just like a giant, I don't know, what is the Czech delicacy I'm trying to come up with here, Mike, of things coming together. It was like
I mean, it's a real smorgasbord, yeah, of just difficulties and trials.
That's Swedish, dude, but I'll take it because I can't come up with what I'm close enough.
But
it's Europe.
Mix.
Chex Mix,
there we
exactly.
go. There
were some pretzels thrown in there, but everyone was feeling that big brown chip that nobody really likes. That's what the majority of teams were facing.
Hey, the big brown chip is my favorite, so I feel like Mike, you and I should split the bag of mix.
That's you love the BBC?
I'm a BBC girl.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning into the finale of Rob Has a Podcast. I want to thank everybody for 15 years.
All right.
It's been amazing. Thank you all so much.
We now conclude our broadcast.
Yeah.
We now conclude our broadcast
Thank
day.
you so much. What a run.
Oh my God.
Okay,
this is why I'm glad we do this live.
So,
this podcast appropriately went off the rails early on.
Yeah, wow, that's a new record even for us. Okay,
well, yeah, I mean, the human error element, I think, is really the most intriguing part to me, because to your point, like we've seen a couple times in Amazing Race seasons past when it comes to planes, like, okay, people will miss their connection. But like, I don't know, this might be one of the most grave and especially mass errors. A whole 8 teams. This is why peer pressure needs to be talked about more to children. You know, like if one team decides that this is the right Frankfurt, this is the right stop in Berlin, they all got off and they all missed their window.
Did we get one team blamed for causing 8 teams to get off the train at the wrong stop? Like, did anybody throw anybody under the bus in terms of a shot fired of like, oh, it was, so-and-so got off, so we all chased them?
I don't think we ever got to know whose fault it ultimately was. You see Izzy not claiming the blame, like calling it herd mentality. And I like herd mentality as a verb, by the way. That's I feel like that could catch on. I think it's also like, I think one thing that you can't really appreciate unless you have actually taken a train into Berlin is like how many stops are just called Berlin something. There's like 10 of them. And they just see Berlin and are like, oh, that's our stop and we're off. So I think they're also, you've been on there all night. And I think as Angela and Lexi explained to us, nobody has slept in 2 days. So they're all exhausted. They just see Berlin, and I don't even know if one person needed to instigate it. They might have just all gotten up en masse and gotten off the train.
Yeah, Jess, I'm glad you brought that up about the sleeping, because we heard it mentioned a couple of times. I think that, Jag and Jess were talking about that the sleep deprivation, but I feel like it wasn't really clear in the episode that basically they have not slept since they started the Amazing Race 38. And
because I think that Jag and Jess left at 12 something p.m. And when I guess when Enzo and Jack checked in, it was nighttime. But I imagine, I don't know, I guess they had already left the next day, I guess. So maybe they got like a brief window of 5 to 6 hours or so, and then they had to get back at them and do it again. But yeah, we're already seeing killer fatigue set in a major way. In many ways, it almost seems like we're seeing like latter stage Amazing Race fails happening in the first couple
Well,
legs.
going back to from what Angela and Lexi told us today, I think that they had been awake for a while before the Amazing Race even started. That Angela and Lexi said that they thought they were going to where they were going, and then they were going to go to sleep. And it's like, no, actually, go start the Amazing Race.
Well, if they'd gotten like straight off the airplane, they probably went on an overnight flight. So you get on the night before, you land in the morning, and then they take you right to the starting line. That makes perfect sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So whoever it was, whether it was a group decision or not, they all get off the train and they all realize the grave error they made. And then it's really fun, right? Because it's like, okay, so just to like reset it for people, there were 8 teams on the first train. There were 3 teams on the second train that were being told that they would catch up to the first train.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were the turners bringing up the rear and the caboose.
Yeah.
And so when the 8 teams end up falling out of it, you're like, okay, this is one of these classic Amazing Race maneuvers where like now the 3 teams that are behind are going to be slingshotted to the front of the pack because they get in time. And then the train just shuts down, just gives up for the night. They decide to sleep, actually. And those people are not so fortunate.
Let me shout out. We got some erasers in the chat. I saw Taylor and Turner is here and says it was an overnight flight and we landed at 3 a.m.
Sounds about right. That is rough.
Yeah. I would be done. Would not be.
Yeah, they stay
not for me.
They say on your first day in a new country, you're supposed to stay up the entire day, right? To not go to sleep. But like, they don't say you should stay up the entire day, like running around Amsterdam doing a bunch of hard tasks in the pursuit of $1 million.
Yeah. Okay. So we had everybody get off the train at the wrong stop, all 8 teams. And then did some of the teams split up from there?
Yeah, it looked like several of the teams ended up getting different train tickets. And so, Berlin is a big train hub. Prague is a big train hub. Lots of trains going back and forth from Berlin to Prague. So they actually, this is also very classic Amazing Race. And it's the kind of thing that only the deep nerds get very excited about. But it's like the travel agent gave them one thing, and now they can better their situation, come up with another thing. And it was fun to see that because you don't have very much teams booking their own travel anymore. And so anybody that was worried that because they're not leaving and going to another continent, we're going to have boring stuff. I don't know, maybe everybody else thinks that's boring, but I personally, I love it. This was giving me like the first All-Stars with Charlotte and Myrna going in and like booking stuff that was 2 days ahead of everybody else. If we get some of that, that will be very exciting. But
I really think that like I have to commend the skills of Jag and Jess and Joseph and Adam and Natalie and Stephanie for like having the wherewithal to do this. Again, I could have absolutely imagined you, especially if you're exhausted, you just default into this mindset of like, all right, yeah, this is just like the subway. We wait for the next train and we hop back on and go to where we need to go. Business as usual. We'll just get there a little bit later. But like these people decided to make hay while the sun shines. For what it's worth, first off, everyone should go to Chat BCC because we are having some lively conversations during the episode.
Don't go to Chat BBC. That's different.
Yeah, please. Yes. So Jess knows personally. But it's the racers themselves are also providing some fun factoids. And, Hannah and Simone and Joseph and Adam have all talked about the fact that like they were working all night. This wasn't just a like, oh, hey, there happens to be a train that goes right to Prague. Like, apparently these guys were, I think they said, like, working the ticket machine like it was a slot machine, just waiting for it to pay off. And it did. For what it's worth, though, it's a calculated risk, There was the guaranteed bet of, okay, there's another train. For all it's worth, they could have stayed behind and realized, like, oh, there's no direct trains to Prague. We're screwed. But the risk paid off here.
Yeah. And so we ended up with that group of 8. Now we broke off into a different group of Jag and Jess, Joseph and his brother Adam, and then Natalie and Steph. So basically those 3 are going to now just be at the front of the race for the entire rest of the episode.
And I will say this was maybe the one miss for me is the fact that we kind of had 3 clusters of teams, which brings to mind the bad All-Stars, where you had teams like just kind of the same teams would finish in the front, and then you'd have, it was really a contest between like whoever was in the back of the pack.
Yeah. And so, yeah, we definitely saw 3 teams together, you know, the big pack in the middle, and then the teams that were on the later train later on in the episode. But so we first see the teams head to this roadblock of the Zhizhkov television tower.
Yep, the Zhizhkov Tower. This is like one of those Cold War relics. I think just about every Eastern European city has this like ugly ass Cold War era Soviet tower for television in the middle of the city. And as soon as you stop at this, I feel like the clue box is underneath this tower. You gotta know what you're gonna be doing.
Yeah. And Mike, any thoughts on the unique design of the television tower that has creepy Ally McBeal crawling babies all over it?
Yeah, listen, I'm not going to Prague anytime soon. I might be able to just stay behind in Frankfurt. Oh no, I missed the train. I guess I can't go to the creepy baby TV tower.
Yeah, well, they're not adult babies.
Yeah, but you know, it's like it's related, I would say. Perhaps
they're not real
literally.
babies.
It's
I was
true.
worried that they were real babies. The way it was structured, it was a little concerning.
Yeah. Can I tell you, my cover story for when I went on Survivor the Amazon was that I told the people, my coworkers, that I was going to Prague, but I did not do any learning about Prague. If anybody would have Googled anything about Prague and asked me questions when I came home, then I would not have known anything about the Zhizhkov television tower or the giant baby statues.
Which would have been operational
graveyard.
at that point. Yeah, I think that is this more so like a statement on television culture that like streaming is so popular that they have to go to a defunct TV tower and all that you could do is just walk off a beam and grab a clue above a cemetery. That's what it's useful for nowadays.
Yeah, now all the television tower is good for is bungee jumping.
It's a real metaphor. Like you walk off the plank into the cemetery, off the TV tower.
Yeah, and
I death of media.
The joke never got old for me, by the way. I know certain people's like, stop making the same one-liner, but maybe this also represents the fact that the groups were so segmented, is you basically had someone from each group making the exact same joke pretty much about the irony of getting to walk out onto a beam hundreds of feet above a cemetery.
Who did it best, though? Who had the best graveyard joke, Mike?
Ooh, I feel like, I mean, it's tough because I think that Jess and Jag were the first ones, and so you never forget your first. The Kylan one was pretty funny. I like the Kylan. I mean, this is the most like challenge adjacent task I think you could have on the Amazing Race, right? The challenge loves heights, loves walking out into precarious positions and hoping that your contract holds through if you injure yourself. And so this is like Kylan's wheelhouse right now.
Okay. So the teams go through. Was this Jag or Jess that did this?
This was Jazz.
Okay.
You can tell by the beard.
Okay, so it was all the loved ones of Jess and Adam and Steph. Sissy, as Natalie calls her.
Yeah, I wonder if it was something where it's like, we've had our turn. Now you show off first in the roadblock.
Yeah. And they all did it, and no problem. I was wondering, everybody walked out to go do it. Mike, could I have gone like full Dan Liu here and have just like scooted across?
Well, you wouldn't need to worry about your feet touching the ground, unlike Dan Liu, so that would work out for you. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could just shimmy or shinny your way across the beam. I mean, that's sort of like what they end up doing anyway to untie it. I think it's just a matter of like, you know, do you want to move that quickly? But yeah, I mean, or it could be something where if these people are on the side being like, no, don't do that, if that could somehow actually, I don't know, compromise the structure of the beam for some reason. But otherwise, yeah, I think slow go is better than no go.
There might be more looking down if you were going to do that, but I don't know if there was like recommended not to do it.
Well, I think the thing that makes the task difficult, like I don't think there's a logistical reason or a safety reason you wouldn't do it, but there probably is a task reason you wouldn't do it, because part of the scariness is having to shift your center of gravity to go down and get that clue.
Okay. All right. So the teams would then head to the detour. Remember the chair or handle with care? Jess, it seemed to me that handle with care seemed much easier than remember the chair.
Yeah, and it's such a classic Amazing Race, like go get a thing and take it to another thing task. But on the other hand, remember the chair looks like fully half of all Big Brother challenges I've ever seen. Because I feel like every time I've watched Big Brother, the challenge has been, look at these pictures, and now look away from the pictures and tell us what was in the pictures.
Oh, it's a little BB Comics-esque of like, you gotta spot the differences.
Yeah, or they always have one where they like Photoshop all the people that got kicked off into like wacky situations, and they're like, who was eating the sandwich and who was on the Eiffel Tower, and so to me, I thought all of these people have proven that they're very good at that thing, so they would naturally, their go-to impulse would be to go to the chair. But I think you're right, Rob. Like objectively, the glasses, the only hard part of that would have been the attention to detail and the fact that the blue glasses looked identical to the purple glasses.
Because Mike, we didn't see anybody have one sort of mishap in Handle with Care.
Well, except for that one maroon that tried to just drag these people into a bar to celebrate.
Well, I mean, if somebody comes at you with a television camera and there's a bunch of people that are like super energetic and they say that they're there for a reason, I think you let them in. That's the move, right? It's free publicity.
I mean, I suppose so, but also at the same time, you know, once you realize in retrospect, like, oh, I might have prevented these people from winning $1 million, then I don't know, you might feel a little guilt on your hand. But I also liked Joseph maybe had one of the lines of the episode of like, he just wanted us to party. There's no, I mean, I guess that's a good point. Maybe they were out of glassware. Like maybe the dishwasher was full and they're like, oh, well, if you're dropping off 20 colored Bohemian glasses, drink up.
Do you think production was disappointed that nobody dropped any glasses?
I was actually a little surprised. I mean, I guess they would have had them stack the glasses if that was the case. But yeah, I mean, the hardest thing besides intervening NPCs in Handle with Care was the fact of just finding the places, but also they were all on the same street. But again, I could imagine if you believe you're good at memory tasks, and also I'm assuming it's also this idea with the back of the pack too, when it's like, okay, they're going off and doing this thing. Do I risk doing something else and hope it's the quicker task, or do I stay with them knowing that they're in my sights, you know, so then I can at least gauge where I am? I can imagine that maybe play a little bit into why certain teams did what they did.
Well, honestly, if we're speaking of Big Brother here, Derek and Claire did that exact thing, and it worked out very well for them. I think it's always the best play to zag when everybody else is zigging if that's your last shot. Like, that's the best Hail Mary there is.
Just we saw the first 3 teams that went to the Detour. They all did the Handle with Care, but then it seemed like then everybody just started to go with the Remember the Chair. Do you think that was the hashtag herd mentality, or do you think that this was one of those situations where that, hey, we don't have enough glasses yet, we have to get the glasses back, that Detour is closed?
Oh yeah, limited stations.
Yeah, we've got this. Actually, we've got confirmation from this in the chat. So yeah, I think there must have been like, they were going to run out of glasses. So
yeah, Turner said only 6 teams could do Handle with Care also. So
and so if you're in the back of the pack, especially, you assume that either those stations are already occupied, or yeah, maybe there was a one-way trip, and so it's like, oh, can't do this anymore. We talked about this last week, right? With some Detour options just getting shut down at a certain point.
Yeah, so how does that work? Just they tell you, well, only 6 teams are going to be allowed to do it, and they don't tell you if they have already done it. So it's like, okay, I might as well go do the other thing because I don't want to take my chances.
Yeah, and you rock up to that challenge, and there's like a big sign that says all of these have already been taken. It's the same thing with like a fast forward, where you have to decide, well, do I want to go for it or not? And sometimes the calculus is a little bit more complicated when there's an actual option on the table, but when the one task seems much more obviously easier, you got to assume that the other teams in front of you already did it.
What episode do you think we will get the first team to switch detours?
I think we're going to see somebody do it.
Yeah, it's just a question of when.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think they're already as tired as anybody I've seen on any season of The Amazing Race, and they haven't done it yet. So I don't know. Maybe we just have a stronger constitution when it comes to killer fatigue these days.
Yeah, I mean, on that note, talking about Remember the Chair, it seemed like seemed pretty straightforward too. I think the difficulty is the fact that you assume, right, you've got two people, many hands make light work. You memorize 6, I memorize 6. The issue is, if you happen to get a couple mixed up, there's nobody to fact check you except for the stern task judge. And so you see a team like Christine and Rubina get stuck time and time and time again because they don't know who's wrong, because all they know are their 6, right? So it's like, okay, is it my 6 or is it your 6?
So we get the middle teams then getting to the TV tower. We see Tucker has no problem. Chelsea's dad, the firefighter Jack, gets to do it, no problem. Paige is going to do it. Christina does it. Simone does it. Everybody gets through.
Yeah, this wasn't a hard task. This was one of those spectacle tasks.
Mhm.
And you get a couple of people like a little trepidatious, but it doesn't take you that long to do it.
Yeah. And just like that, we see that, Jag and Jess, their first ones through on Deliver the Glasses. They're helping the other teams. It's a good group at the top of the pack. We didn't mention, we found out that Joseph's brother, Adam, is diabetic. We didn't talk about this last week. And, I see that he is wearing, I'm not sure what it's called, the thing on his
the monitor. Yeah.
Yeah. The monitor on his arm, and he has to carry orange juice with him to make sure that his blood sugar isn't too out of whack. And so really impressive that he's able to, run the race at such a high level.
Well, he's not the first type 1 diabetic to run the race. We've actually had winners. I believe it was Kat of Nat and Kat in season 17. That was a big plot line for them because she was constantly had to be on top of her sugar as well as running a very strong, amazing race.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice story to tell. And I think it also, I'm glad they brought it into this episode because it's something that Joseph brought up last week, that there was a whole moment that wasn't shown where like Adam's blood sugar was crashing. And so they had to like find a local who would help give him some stuff to bring his levels back up. So I'm glad they brought it up, not only for representation's sake, but also because, this is something that they are going to have to deal with. I also cannot imagine what Adam's levels were like while he was up on the beam, because it's clear that maybe besides Turner, he was one of the most terrified people to be up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Least terrified, I'm going to give the award to Tucker.
I mean, we saw him navigate those balance beams multiple times on Big Brother. He does it like nobody's business.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, that's another thing they do a lot of on Big Brother, don't they? They just like fill the whole backyard up with balance beams and make you run across them and press a button or something.
Yep. They do love to do that. Jess, are you a closet Big Brother super fan?
No, I'm a person who starts watching Big Brother with the best of intentions every summer, and I fall off of it in 3 to 6
Unlike
weeks.
Tucker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We get to see the teams in the back of the pack. They're all going to get to the tower. Kylan's going to do it. Kat's going to do it. Turner's going to do it. And then Lexi is going to go and get ready to get strapped in. So we start to see that one of these 4 teams, it seems like, is going to be the team that gets eliminated.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, since they didn't see the other teams, they have no idea if they're in first, if they're in last. And so it seemed like they were kind of moving as a group. From what we have heard, it seems like this group of 4 teams also really, really bonded together. Keep that in your noggin if we're talking about future alliances, perhaps, that it seems like this was sort of bonding through trauma and it kind of brought them all together in a major way. And so it made it even more devastating when they get to the tower, realize they're in the last group, and realize, all right, I guess it really is every person for themselves from here on out. Even though Angela and Lexi did work with the Turners in the Detour as well, which was an interesting choice.
Okay. So it's at this point in the episode we start to see Jag and Jazz are going to check in, and they're going to be, you know what? I guess we should do it this way. Let me bring in our slideshow of the teams as we start to talk about everybody checking in. Jazz and Jag, team number 1, once again.
Yeah, they win a trip to Sri Lanka, which Sri Lanka's having a moment this week between Amazing Race Australia actually going there, and then they win the trip there. So that was some fun synergy.
I can't, you know what?
Rob's just slowly taking over the fight back.
Now, what did I say, Rob?
No,
Did
you're fine. No, I'm not even upset about the thing before. I'm just trying to find,
the
like,
fact that you said you're not kind of means you
this
are.
is a good one.
This
That's
works.
a good
But
one.
let's shout out to the Twinnies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, when you have siblings, on the Amazing
Going to Sri
Race, send them
Lanka.
to Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Why not?
I mean, these guys, incredibly impressive. Again, they were really able to thread the needle of helping the other teams, but then, like, basically once they hit the detour, they're like, all right, I'll tell you guys where to go, but, like, we're so far ahead that we're not going to wait for you at this point, which, again, that's how you cooperate with teams on the Amazing Race. You can help the teams that are behind you, but do not wait for them. And so, again, it's been incredibly dominant, 2 legs in a row. I mean, more and more they have U-turn written all over their bearded, smiling faces.
But they have the Express Pass.
Yeah, and they have the Express Pass, which also might be another reason why to U-turn them. But for the moment, everything's coming up the Turbinators right now.
Okay. All right. Then we mentioned Joseph and Adam, and I don't remember where they finished last week, but this was a real strong breakout week for them.
Yeah, not only did they run pretty much a perfect leg, they were just the nicest guys this week. I feel like you don't see people that are this like kind to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I feel like I'd be rooting for these guys in a normal season, like without the Big Brother angle. I wouldn't. They seem like, I don't know. Joseph seems to. I did not watch him at all, but he seems like he's too nice to be on Big Brother.
Well, I think that he
wasn't supposed to be.
Yeah, he was an alternate. He was not supposed to be on. And Mike, did we get a person in the cast? Like, did it get revealed and then they took it back?
Oh yeah, real ones remember Marvin, the stripping scientist who was on America's Got Talent and The Circle, and I think
yeah.
I
It's
believe
all coming back to
he
me.
did end up playing, I think, Big Brother, like the Pan-African version, so he finally did get his chance. But yeah, Joseph made his way into the house, and the rest was history. I mean, they end up jumping, to answer your question, Rob, from 8th place last week all the way up to 2nd. They did have an interesting confessional here where they're like, okay, well, now this means that everyone underestimated us in the first leg. I mean, it sounds like from what's being described, they were the ones that were kind of putting in a lot of the work to make sure that they got the direct tickets to Prague. So yeah, I mean, these guys might actually be proving immediately to be a dark horse in the competition.
Yeah, I forgot all about Marvin. Okay. Then, 3rd place, big week for Natalie and Sissy Stephanie.
We were talking before we got on that there's so many big personalities that we were struggling to think of, like, is anybody not a very big personality? And I kind of posited that I really like Stephanie because she's like the most normal person. Like, she is the most low-key personality, I think, of all the people that are left. And because of that, she stands out.
Yeah. And I think that Natalie also has some great one-liners, too. I mean, she was given a lot of jazzercise instructor, right? With like, burn those butts. This is the Amazing Race, not the Amazing Turtle. She was just throwing, maybe it's also the comfortability of being in the lead, but she had a lot of fun things to say. And I mean, Steph brings up a good point as well that, like, especially now that Enzo and Jack are gone, they might be the least connected team left on this cast, considering that Natalie did not play Big Brother with any of these people. So it's good that they're able to.
Era.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's good they're able to make some connections here with, Joseph and Adam and with Jag and Jess. And the hope is, as Jess and Jag talk about, like, this is a coalition that might move forward because, we don't know if there's a U-turn vote coming up. We're going to talk about the driver's seat, which is coming next week, which is a bit about, almost like an HOH, one particular person in power doling out how everyone else does. It's good to have friends in high places.
Okay. 4th place team, Tucker and Eric. What a adventure in 4th place for Tucker and Eric, who, after coming down from the television tower, found the clue box to go to the mat. They couldn't believe their luck, how easy this leg of the Amazing Race was. And Phil just did his classic Phil thing of making them think that they are checking in, and actually they are not.
Yep. And then he gives them the disappointed dad face. And he says, you guys have to go out and finish the race. And I love it. We haven't seen this happen in a minute, I feel like.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this was so good too, because, like, again, these guys were so expectant. Like, Eric's face was beautiful. You could screenshot that and use it as a meme if you want to. These guys' faces dropped, and it's perfectly lampshaded by the fact they're like, This feels too good to be true. I'm
Yeah.
sure it's fine.
Did we have this last with, was it Lulu and Lala? Did they do this?
Well, that was with the souvlaki, right? They kept eating it and they forgot the clue was on the wrapper.
Okay. I feel like that somebody around that time did this also, where they go to the mat and then end up.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, you're totally right. They ended up heading to the pit stop, and Phil was like, "Nope, turn around, touch the clue box,
That's
and
right.
come back."
Yeah. Okay. So, but this was amazing that Phil says, "Well, you are the fourth to arrive, but you have to. You didn't go to the detour, and then somehow, amazingly, they were still the fourth team to arrive."
And not only that, after making their own pit stop before the pit stop, to go souvenir shopping.
Yeah.
I feel like we don't get enough of teams going shopping in the middle of the leg.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But did they get ice cream?
They got ice cream.
It was incredible because, like, I love how the way they mapped it out was incredible because it cuts to them on the mat, and you're like, A, how did you get in fourth place? B, are you holding an ice cream cone? Where did you get an ice cream cone? Did you do that one speed bump that the
Beekman
Boys did in season 21? And then we get the 15-minute flashback of them being like, "Yeah, you know what? We're totally fine. We know where we're going at this point. You want to stop in, grab a slice, stop in the local Czech bodegas."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, they know how far out in front they are, right?
Yeah. I was actually really impressed, though, when they went to go to the detour and they had to do Remember the Chair. And I forget, was it Angela or Chelsea that talked about, like, wow, Tucker has a really good memory, which, bad on me, I did not remember that Tucker has a really good memory. But they,
like, you don't have a really good memory.
On some things, but they aced to Remember the Chair.
Yeah, I remember very specifically. I think he beat Cedric on the one where you have to remember the pattern on the bridge, the Squid Game one, because that was the one that the veto that he used on Angela. So we know that he really likes puzzles, but I don't know if memory challenge count into this, but yeah, I mean, I would argue they might be. I mean, I guess Izzy and Paige were technically one and done, but they were more the amazing turtle here in their slow and steady approach. Otherwise, I'd say Tucker and Eric were probably the most impressive with their performance in this side of the detour.
Okay, all right. Let's get to more of the teams that were in the middle of the pack. Okay. Hannah and Simone.
Okay, I have to give major props to Hannah this leg because she faked me out into making me believe she was fluent in Czech. This is the greatest. She goes ask for directions in Czech, and it turns out, like, I went into Chat BCC and I asked her, okay, do you actually speak Czech? And she said, no, I just have a good ear. But
yeah.
I think it's just a testament to, like, how smart she is.
Yeah, and an amazing memory. And another thing I didn't remember is just, how advanced she is in terms of that she went to, college early and got a master's degree and amazing things, which I don't remember being a huge part of the story in Big Brother 23.
It's because it wasn't part of the story. Remember, I think because she was super young, she was 21, but she was in grad school, and so she was going to lie that she was just a college student to hide that identity.
Got it. You know what? But they really didn't show her enough. What they should do, like, if she ever has a friend that goes on the show, they should show, like, a lot more about them and, like, their backstory to, like, make it up.
No, Rob. Only maybe their cleaning habits. That's about it. That's all we need to see of them.
Okay. Yeah. But for Hannah and Simone, no problem for them. Remember the chair.
I will say, yeah, I mean, I think the check came in impressively, Jess, with a not so impressive move, which was them misinterpreting, thinking that they had to, like, go somewhere else to another train station when it turns out that all they had to do was just stay in the same train station. So that's what kind of put them behind, but then they caught back up due to the memory challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, I think we haven't said it enough. I love them taking public transportation this leg. So I'm excited to see more of that too.
Okay. Hannah and Simone were 5, and then Izzy and Paige, who also were started the race at the front of the pack with all the teams. They were in the group that got lost after they got off on the wrong stop. They seem to have not too many problems at Remember the Chair, and here they are in 6th place.
I think they do better at remember the conductor because Izzy should have earned an express pass just for identifying the pit stop greeter correctly.
Yeah, that was, well, and in fairness, like the two major Czech composers, they're both old bearded guys from the 19th century. So really it's a coin flip at that point. But yeah, I mean, she's a classical musician. Of course she knows who Dvorak is.
Mm-hmm.
Is it an accurate representation, you think? You think this was a good reenactor?
You could Google image search it. I mean, he's an old guy with a beard.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then also in the middle of the pack, Jack and Chelsea.
It's really interesting because like she's the most recent winner to be on this season, and like her and her dad are pretty purple at this point, except for one of my other favorite lines of the episode, which is Chelsea bemoaning the fact that because her dad is a firefighter, all fire hazards she was not able to play with, unlike us unruly children.
Yeah, man, I hate it when my parents tell me I can't play with matches.
Well, also, they haven't had a real Christmas tree since 1996.
Has anybody?
I don't know. I'm not I've actually never had a real Christmas tree. I don't know if I'm missing out on anything.
Yeah, it's probably been 1996 since I've had one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. So yeah, we get a little bit from Jack in this episode about his background, and I don't know. And luckily, there's no fire making challenges, or else Jack would, I don't know, maybe quit on the spot if that was the case.
Okay. Hopefully they won't be at the final four. All right. There's Jack and Chelsea. And then the other team in the middle, the back of the middle of the pack, it's Christine and Rabina, who ended up having a bit of a struggle at Remember the Chair.
Yeah, they kept getting the same thing wrong. And I think these challenges are especially hard when they don't tell you what you're getting wrong. And it's a mixed bag. Like sometimes you go to a challenge and they're like, you got 5 right or you got 8 right. And this one, the guy's just giving him nothing.
Yeah. And I didn't know what they were doing wrong, that they kept showing them over and over again. It was on the screen. And eventually we find out that they were misidentifying one of the fleur-de-lis. Is that, am I saying that? Am I got that right?
Yeah, it was that Christine, one of the ones she had picked was like she had picked the wrong crest. And so she was saying the wrong name. She did eventually rectify her other mistake, her first mistake, which was just like going through the names, realizing that she was pronouncing it incorrectly. But yeah, to your point, we heard a lot of like the last 2 or 3 because we kept cutting to their attempts. But we didn't hear a lot of like, I think it was 4 and 9 out of the 12 were the ones that were really the problem children.
Yep. Too bad that at one point when they didn't get it, they didn't say like, give me a sec, wait a sec. And then they said, oh, no, you got it.
Do you think that worked? Do you think if you just say it at any time?
I think so. I think you give
just
it to them.
Just name any Czech town.
So there you go. There's Christina and Rabina. They are team number 8. Something I've noticed this season, and you tell me if Phil has been doing this for a bit. Phil has followed suit of the Jeff Probst, and on Survivor this week, we got like Jeff was like, "Hey, you at home, what are you doing? Why don't you apply for Survivor?"
Oh, we had a meme about this, Rob. We had a whole ass meme about this because
Phil asking people to apply.
Yeah, because what would happen is they would show people at their like lowest Amazing Race moment. Like they can't remember something, they're screwing up a task, they're ready to quit, they're sweaty and tired and in pain. And at the lowest moment of the episode, they will then cut to Phil saying, if you think you have what it takes to be on the Amazing Race, it kind of like, yeah, do you think you would react to this better than these bozos?
Mm-hmm.
Is the implication.
Yeah. And then they did a season with no applicants.
Yep.
So very sure, like, hey, look at what these schlubs are doing, and they didn't even apply. If you really want to one up them, go ahead. I mean, Rob, I talk with all these Survivor players, right? Sometimes they say that they end up applying because they look at the people on screen and are like, I can do better. So I think I really like these hosts trying to call those people out, those couch sitters, being like, hey, come on, let's continue the cycle here and have some people say the same thing about you.
Yeah,
but I really feel like Phil should have gotten on there and been like, if you think you would have what it takes to be on the Amazing Race, go apply for Big Brother and then be on Big Brother and then you can be on the Amazing Race.
Yeah, there were a bunch of Big Brother contestants that are watching the show and they say like, okay, oh, finally, people on television who represent me. Now I'll apply to be on the Amazing Race now that I see Big Brother contestants.
I never thought there was a place for me until I saw Big Brother contestants on The Amazing Race.
A place for me other than Big Brother, I mean.
Yes. Okay. Let's check in with our teams that now are at the back of the pack. And Kylan and Taylor, they were the best of the back of the pack.
Yeah, I don't know what I think with the better train, they would have done better.
Yeah, I think it was like they end up sort of getting screwed and put on this specific train just because of where they place in the first leg. That's what's always nice about, like, we sometimes like the, you know, big refresh of everything where everyone kind of starts anew just because it doesn't segment everything out and the rich get richer. But like, it's interesting that their, you know, placement on this leg was directly impacted by their placement on the last leg, because certainly if they had gotten on board with those other 8 teams, they could have done a lot better, because yeah, once they got into Prague, it seemed pretty seamless, every single thing that they did.
Yeah. We saw Kylan did the walked out on the beam, and then they went and they did the deliver the glass?
Yeah,
No
it is interesting to think, yeah, out of 12 teams, I think only 4 of them did the delivering.
So you could have gone and done the delivering.
Yeah. I think I saw Taylor in the chat say that they didn't even see that part on the clue that said only 6 teams were going to be able to do that. They just went and did it.
Read your clue.
No, it was fine. It was fine. They did it fine. Okay. All right. So Kylan and Taylor, yeah, we didn't even consider it. We just went for it. Okay. All right. Let's talk about, team number 9 ends up being, this is 10. Kat and Alex, and kind of a bounce back week for them. We saw Kat really having some tough times last week, but yeah, they really pulled it together. She went out on the beam, no issues.
Yeah, a quiet week for them. I feel like a bounce back week and a quiet week are probably the same thing.
Yeah.
They're hilarious. I love their dynamic. Like when they're recounting, okay, Alex has been to Prague for all of 2 hours and he was vomiting the entire time, and Kat's like, I'm here with a professional.
I feel like maybe Alex is like a dark horse contender for most standout loved one of the season.
I would not disagree.
I feel like it's like he's one of those guys where I'm like, well, if I met him at a party, I'd be like, what show are you from? Because he really does give reality TV energy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, they had a solid performance. Again, certainly less low lows than last time. I mean, it's tough because they were essentially only competing with 3 other teams, and Kylan and Taylor were just really good at the stuff this leg, and so they kind of settled for second there.
Okay. Then let's go ahead and talk about the foot race between our last 2 teams. Okay. First, we have our team that ends up coming in 11th place. It's Megan and Matt, and it was really good news for them when they ended up they thought they were in dead last. They ended up meeting the other 3 teams, and then they end up beating out Angela and Lexi in a foot race to stick around.
It is genuinely impressive how they have managed to not get eliminated yet.
It's been 2 legs.
2 legs. Yeah, well, I'm saying they have packed a lot of tension and suspense into these 2 legs, and it's almost like I want them to continue the streak. Like, what if they're one of those teams like the team from the COVID season, the father and daughter that ended up making the final 4?
Oh, Aruna and Natalia.
Yes. They
How
were
could you ever forget Donald Where's Your Trousers?
Oh, I remember Donald Where's Your Trousers. I just couldn't remember what the guy's name was. But they ended up second to last place literally every leg.
Sorry, all I'm thinking right now, the people who are watching the Amazing Race for this time, I'm just like, there was this song they had to do called Donald Where's Your Trousers, and they couldn't do it. And by the end, the guy Arun was just screaming it.
Best. It was the best.
But yeah, I hope for it, because yeah, this is such a fun storyline of like, somehow, some way, these 2 end up perfecting just the good Amazing Race strategy of, as long as it's not me, just get ahead of one other team. And last time, again, it might have been due to the handicap of the speed bump. Here it was unless they have some connections with Frankfurt train services, being able to just benefit from the fact that they ended up catching up with the other teams, despite the fact that they were like 4 to 5 hours behind, I believe. But for what it's worth, once they all caught up, I know that obviously Matt had a lot of trouble out on the beam, but they were able to keep pace with at least one other team. The issue is, this is certainly something we talked about last week. There is, I would say, a handful of teams that are, listen, anything can happen on the Amazing Race, but you would imagine on a neutral field would probably be primed to go next. We are winnowing on that field. And so there might not be a lot of other opportunities for Megan and Matt to be able to beat out teams that might do worse than them at any task.
The tasks that they struggled with were, the doing the flowers and then also remember the chair. So I kind of feel like that if they don't run into those type of specific, like hunt and seek, like memory type challenges, like they might be okay. Like, I feel like that the challenges they really struggled with, had a bit of a memory component to it. And so that will come up again, but it doesn't necessarily come up every single week.
Yeah, if they get the right set of tasks, they could stick around for a few more legs.
Yes.
But I think they're running out of room to hide.
It's not a foregone conclusion.
Well, and I think it's interesting that we sort of get this, I guess it's not revisionist history, but more so sort of like belated backstory to begin this episode of like, Matt saying like, yeah, I don't really follow directions. I kind of just go my own way.
Yeah.
Megan's like, yeah. And then I just kind of listen to, I just follow what he says. And so again, maybe not the best dynamic for an Amazing Race team, but they are making it work. I thought it was really sweet to have her support him for him to say like out on the beam, like, just keep talking to me. Like, you're the voice that's letting me not fall to my death here. And luckily there's an open grave if that was the case. And so it's a sweet relationship to personify. I hope, to your point, Jess, they keep bottom G. Odysseying for the rest of the season, just to make a fantastic story. I would be lying if I didn't say that I would put this team probably, if we did a Big Brother Unlock style, like, who's most likely, who's most likely to go next, I would imagine it's Megan and Matt. But we said it last week and they didn't go.
Okay. All right, but they did win a foot race against the team that did get eliminated, and we were very sad to see Angela and Lexi end up being eliminated. And while they do get eliminated, that I don't know really what they did terribly wrong. I mean, they end up coming in 12th place, but without like a real, like we've seen other teams struggle at things more than Angela and Lexi did.
Yeah, it seemed like it was just a couple of rotten turns of luck for them. I think we could have seen them go a lot further.
I mean, did they have anything? Was it the flower task that they really just couldn't get that done in time?
No, I mean, it was the bike was the thing that really slowed them down and put them in the back of the pack. I mean, it was sort of like that building physicality and endurance over the course of the day. I mean, I think they would be the first ones to tell you they're not necessarily built for endurance compared to other teams. And so that put them sort of like what we were talking about with Kylan and Taylor in the back of the pack going into the next leg, where they happened to get on the last train to Prague. And then once they got there, they end up, two other teams kind of end up surging ahead. And then you're sort of left with a team that either navigated better, or I don't know if it really was a foot race. At least from what Angela and Lexi had told me, it seemed like the turners were at the mat when they got there. So like it may have been a couple of minutes.
Yeah, they said it was a couple of minutes.
Yeah, so it wasn't exactly a foot race, I would say. But yeah, I would imagine they're not feeling like terribly well, especially after such a long 72-hour period at that point to be like, okay, and now hoof it to the pit stop.
Right. And that was actually something that they had told us played a major role, was like they were so tired that Angela was having Lexi do the Roadblock tasks for her because she was just not in Roadblock headspace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 48 hours awake. It's tough conditions.
And that is interesting too. We don't need to be on full-on Roadblock watch yet. For those that don't know, there was a formal rule that was put in place back in season 6 that each team member can only do a maximum of 6 roadblocks, so that one person isn't doing it the entire time. It's a rule that has maybe stretched a couple times, but we've seen a few people end up doing both of the first two roadblocks. And not to say that that means they're going to have to shift everything back, but we've certainly seen teams end up falling by the wayside because they have to put the wrong person into the roadblock that doesn't work in their favor.
Okay. Let's look ahead to the next episode and tell me about the driver's seat.
Oh, yeah, Rob, you missed the driver's seat.
Yeah, what is the driver's
Oh,
seat?
poor Rob. Yeah, I feel sorry for you, man.
Driver's seat.
Sorry for you.
Yeah, so the driver's seat is the team that shows up first to wherever the board is will have the opportunity to dictate what every other race team gets to do in a particular task. And so last season we had this task where they had to harvest a certain amount of rice and put it in a bag, and the team that got there first had to decide who was going to get to harvest like 10 pounds and who had to do 15 and who had to do 25. And so they ended up, well, controversially, they ended up giving themselves the least amount of rice and then using an express pass anyway, and making everybody mad at them because the play there was probably to assign themselves the heaviest one and express pass themselves out.
Or assign themselves the lightest one and not use the express pass. Right. It just so happened that there was a U-turn vote in the very next episode, and they unsurprisingly were one of the two teams U-turned.
So, Mike, this is not unlike where in Survivor All-Stars, Rupert had to decide what food everybody got at the reward.
Exactly. And so this
when Judd had to decide who ate what in Guatemala.
Yeah, a reward that I wish gets brought back in Survivor all the time. But yeah, they're essentially delineating out, and we don't know what the task will be. Again, it might be something physical, as Jess is saying. It might be a roadblock. Who knows? It might be a detour. It might just be a random route info. But it essentially gives the first team to arrive at that point the ability to assign this stuff out. Now, again, chalk pick would probably be Jess and Jag. We know that we're staying in the Czech Republic. So I would imagine that we're going to have these lead three teams continue to be out in front. So probably it's going to be one of those teams managing it. And what makes this one really interesting is, again, that one caused a lot of drama last time. And those were all teams who didn't know each other.
They know each other.
Exactly. It's a little different because not only do we have these sort of baked in alliances, both from pre-existing relationships, as well as now stuff that's being formed on the race. You know, you have the perception of the team that is in the lead of like, okay, do we want to be benevolent here? Do we want to try to really strike at one team, hoping that they don't come back to bite us? This will definitely be, I think, one of the most strategic episodes of The Amazing Race next season, which, again, some people might not want in their race, but that's what the driver's seat kind of brings in. Okay. And again, it doesn't exactly have the best precedent. I think at the time, neither Jess or I were particularly high on the driver's seat as a concept. But I hope it can be a little redeemed to the next episode.
So once a season?
I assume so.
Yeah.
And we need to try it a few times to make sure it works.
Yeah, and for all we know, they could have changed some stuff up too. If, they felt like, okay, it's coming at a weird point in the leg, maybe they shifted it around. There could have been some experimentation between seasons.
Because we did get to see it. I think I recall that we saw the driver's seat in action before they went out to film this season.
All right.
And Phil outright told me in an interview that they're going to have they did see the driver's seat because I think Taylor told us, right, that they had ended up watching about like 4 or 5 episodes, maybe.
Yeah.
And the driver's seat, I think, was like episode 4 or something like that.
Okay. Mike, I have for you a special request that here is, for anybody who missed it, for all the old heads, a long distance dedication to Arun. Donald, where's your trousers?
Donald, where's your trousers? Donald, where's your trousers?
Never get old.
All right. Anything else, Jess, on your mind about Amazing Race episode 2?
I think it's a strong start. This is a well-cast season, even without the big brother of it all. And so I hope
I've been pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I was really worried, but it's great. It's fun. And what I'm really hoping is that some of you that came on here because you loved Big Brother and because you love these people, I hope it will pull some of you in and you'll stick around when everybody is not from your favorite show. Maybe this will be your new second favorite show.
Mm-hmm. A gateway drug,
Exactly.
they call it. Okay.
Your first taste is free. You get your
I
Big Brother
mean,
season.
I became an Amazing Race stan because it was always on in the background, but I didn't really get sucked into it until Rob and Amber were on it. So, everybody came to the Amazing Race a different way.
I was even on Big Brother this summer. You should have seen me on Big Brother Unlocked.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting is Boston Rob technically doesn't count for him filling in the trifecta, but I know certainly something that Angela talked with me, I don't know about the two of you, is the fact that she has an eye for Fiji coming up soon. She wants to be the first. She's closing in on Survivor.
All right, so we got a captain season. Okay, tell Angela she has to make a video. Okay, we know from Jeff. Jeff said about Rachel. So okay, Rachel's one of the captains. Angela's one of the captains. Who's the third captain? Who wants it? Taylor, Turner?
Oh, Claire.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Claire.
Okay.
I mean, Survivor is like her #1 show, and she ironically ended up competing on the other two.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
3 BB queens coming to Survivor for Survivor 51. Do you think that Survivor 51 should be Area 51 themed?
Ooh, I love that. Have Tribal Council be a
Tribal
whole,
Council's like a crashed spaceship. Yeah.
Do they beam the person up when they get voted out instead of snuffing their torch?
I don't know. This is a good idea.
Yeah, we're giving this away for free. We should really invoice CBS.
Instead of a journey, do we call it like an away team mission?
I don't know. We got it with synergy with Paramount Plus. So there's a lot there that you could do. Okay. All right. Be on the lookout for that. All right. A Survivor invasion on Survivor Area 51.
Oh, I love yeah, exactly. It's a reality TV
It's
invasion.
an invasion.
Get ready for a takeover.
Get ready for a takeover. Take us to your leader. Okay. Jess.
Rob.
Anything else for you?
Well, I guess nothing else for me about this week. It was fun.
Okay.
Looking forward to it. I love having you back, Rob. It's really
I love being back.
I've missed this. I've missed us.
Yeah. All right. Mike, what's coming up for you?
So we've got our Survivor coverage going on with the B&B, doing exit press for that as well. Of course, as I mentioned a number of times.
I enjoyed the B&B. I listened to it very late in the game this week, but very fun.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a very fun
Lasher.
time with Ali Lasher. We're going to have Marianne Oketch on this week, so it should be a great time having her back as well. I will tease the reality flash. I don't know if you saw this. Tiffany New York Pollard, they just released a trailer for a new shows that she's doing, and it looks like incredibly ridiculous, as in like one of the wildest concepts for a reality show I have ever heard. So
I saw the what network is it on?
It is on Out, I believe.
Yeah, it was something that I was not super familiar with.
So I'm going to get together with Chappelle, who's the expert on all things the HBIC, and talk about whatever the hell this is and what it means for absolute reality TV. Maybe she should be the 4th captain. I don't know if she wants to do Survivor, but have her show up. Have her live on Exile for a while.
Is Out a streamer? Is that on my YouTube TV?
I mean, it might be on. I don't know what you subscribe to, Rob. It might be.
I got YouTube TV, baby.
So we've got that going on. That should be coming up sometime soon. But otherwise, check out everything that I am doing at a Mike Bloom Type.
Okay. All right. Jess, what's coming up for you?
Well, I dropped by Silent Podcasts International this week to talk about Amazing Race Australia, which has been also a surprisingly fun season. If you are in Australia, then you will know that the cast of Amazing Race Australia is all celebrities, but they're really only celebrities in Australia. I'd heard of one of them, and it's only because he was in Phil Kogan's favorite movie. But
his favorite movie?
You guys remember when we were doing the Toughest Nails recaps with Phil, he started quoting this movie called The Castle, and he was shocked that none of us had ever seen it.
Okay. Sounds about right.
Yeah, sounds about right. So one of the guys from The Castle is in...
Do they have The Castle on YouTube TV?
No, they don't have it on
Oh.
streaming anywhere in the US because I've been trying to watch it now. Anyway, I did that. I stopped by and talked about Amazing Race Australia with Sarah Carradine, and we had a lot of fun doing that. I believe that should be in your feeds already if you want to check that out. And I'm not giving you my social media handles because I don't want to look at my DMs this week after what Mike Bloom did to me.
Yes. Okay. Good choice.
What I did to you?
Good choice. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Mike.
Last thing we'll plug, we're all going to be in person next week. We will not be watching the Amazing Race live because we'll get to see Rob doing what he does best, hosting the live show after the Survivor episode.
Wow, that's what I do best.
I mean, you do many things, Brett. It's a lot of 1As, Rob.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
it's a lot of stuff on the S tier. I will have buttons to give out at the live show, so come find me if you want a fun and good button. Is
Fun
one
and
of the
good
ones that I
button.
have made, and I also have
Cool.
some Sir Squiddington buttons.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, talk about the COVID pastiches. We got Donald Roger Trousers and Sir Squiddington.
Yeah. I think I just I found a bunch of Sir Squiddington tattoos recently.
We printed up
And
1,000 of them.
Did
and we
you
sold
can you don them, Rob? Can you cover yourself in them and come to the live
myself
show?
for the live show. All right, and then we had a lot of great stuff with Survivor this week. Asia filled in for Stephen Fishback on the Know-It-Alls, and then today I spoke with Thomas and Bianca from Survivor 48. Fun double episode recap, and then not double episode, a double guest on the recap. And then on Friday, I will be doing a Survivor Q&A with the patrons. So look forward to that. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye. This is RHAP. We know reality TV.